Space. It's pretty big. Like, we can't even fathom its size. The entirety of just our solar system is so mind-boggling that it took us 9 years to send a probe from Earth to Pluto, one of the furthest celestial bodies in orbit with the Sun, and that traveled at 58,536 kilometers an hour, or 36,373 miles per hour. You know how fast that is? Fast. Like, really fast. I mean, sure, 9 years, that's a long time. But consider this. In that 9-year span, it covered 7.5 billion kilometers. That's billion with a B. I mean, a billion isn't really even an amount that we can comprehend. But that's just here. That's just our little home. The distance from the sun to, say, the nearest star, that's Proxima Centauri, and its distance, it's a measly 4.2 light years. A light year is the distance of light the fastest thing in the universe can travel in a full year. So 4.2 light years, that means the light we see from it is actually the light it gave off 4 years ago. We're seeing its past just like everything else in the universe that we observe. But how far is that in regular measurements, like the ones we use here on Earth? It's 3.9 times 10 to the power of 16 meters, or 39 trillion kilometers. We just left the billions and under the trillions. I've made my point with size. I think that's not what I'm really here to talk about anyway. Considering that we're at the edge of our galaxy, and that means the stellar density, or the amount of stars in a unit volume, usually a parsec, which is 3.2 light years, is significantly lower out here, but towards the center, where the incredible mass of a supermassive black hole called Sagittarius A star pulls stars and everything else into a close and tight cluster, the stellar density jumps up, like a lot, 500 times the density that we have around us, and that would be a really, really bright night sky. So, in No Man's Sky, with a galaxy that's probably a whole lot bigger than ours, the stellar density at the center would be massive. We can safely assume this is the case because the bright light that Sean keeps talking about is the massive cluster of stars that are at the center, as well as this being the structure of pretty much every galaxy we've observed. So what? So this means with an increase of stellar density, it increases the chances of players being closer to each other in the game as they approach the center. But just because they are closer in distance doesn't really mean that they're any closer to finding each other. Replace vast distances of endless void with a vast conglomerate of star systems. Assuming players aren't actually coordinating to meet, which is another matter entirely, this actually decreases the chance people will accidentally run into each other in a solar system, because there is now a larger pool of stars to pick from when you jump from system to system. I can hear it now, though. Oh man, the people are already typing it up. The very center. What about the very center? Assuming that it's a single point that people will be going to and everyone will have to go to the same point in space, then sweet. Now we really will see someone, right? I mean, right? Well, that's assuming that the center isn't to scale. If it is, well then, fat chance. Considering that for the most part celestial bodies are pretty much to scale in the game, we can assume that they decided how big the center might be based on what's at the center of our galaxy. Sagittarius A star, a supermassive black hole. Since it's a very accepted theory that at the center of galaxies is a supermassive black hole, this would make sense that the center in No Man's Sky would be one as well. And considering that the estimated size of our supermassive black hole has a diameter of 6.7 billion kilometers, which is the orbit size of the planet Uranus, I highly doubt that people will have much success in spotting someone else. It'll be hard enough finding someone on a planet. But this is all considering that it will be scaled to size, but in a game like this, where scale is important, I'll bet that meeting people is going to be a very rare occurrence.